I am Sara.
And I'm Mikolaj.
And this is Vlog. Hi everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed our last and first episode. Episode 2 is Leaders of Causes. What is this about? Who are they? And why did they become the representative of causes? We are talking about people like Greta Thunberg, Julian Assange for WikiLeaks, Malala, for example. So they are viral and they're amazing and they represent these causes. But why do they represent it? Are their intentions pure in the first place? Are the campaigns that they represent really against the system, or were they created by the system? So these questions are very controversial, and we are going to address them today. First theme is Malala. I don't know if you heard of her. I mean, I think you did because
Definitely.
she's a big name.
Yes. So Malala, she's a education activist from Pakistan who rose to prominence in early 2010s and then became world famous after her school bus was attacked by Taliban militants.
Yes. A story shocked the world. She gave voice to girls and their right for education in Pakistan. She was named, shot, and a martyr of her cause. She survived miraculously, and now she's the voice of this movement. She's one of the youngest personalities who received the Nobel Prize, the Peace Nobel Prize. I think you already know her. This is the story of Malala.
I have rights. I have the right of education. I have the right to play. I have the right to sing. I have the right to talk. I have the right to go to market. I have the right to speak up.
She's become the voice for girls around the world. In 2011, CNN interviewed Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani girl who gained international headlines 2 years earlier for speaking out for girls' education through a blog she wrote under a pseudonym.
When I see my name in the newspaper, I feel that, yeah, God has given this honor to me and I shall accept it.
Malala's life changed forever on October 9th, 2012. While on her way home from school in Pakistan's Swat Valley, a group of armed Taliban boarded her school bus, asked for her by name and shot her in the head. 2 of her classmates were also wounded in the attack. But Malala's injuries were so severe, doctors didn't think she'd survive. She was airlifted to a military hospital in Peshawar, where she had surgery to remove the bullet lodged in her shoulder. From the UAE to Germany to the US, doctors from around the world offered to treat the young girl. But ultimately Malala flew to the UK, where she continued treatment at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. When hearing about the attack, people around the world were inspired by her courage. Many attended prayer vigils and lit candles.
We want justice!
Others stood in support of her efforts through rallies, holding up her picture and demanding change.
I come from Swat Valley in Pakistan.
A region where rifles are fired to celebrate the birth of a son.
But daughters are hidden away behind a curtain.
Where I grew up, girls are afraid to go to school.
But I'm not afraid.
I believe that education is a universal human right.
I believe that one child,
one teacher,
one book,
and one pen can change the world.
Schools were attacked.
I still went.
And I spoke out.
We realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced.
I was shot on a Tuesday.
At lunchtime.
One bullet.
One bullet.
One bullet.
One gunshot heard around the world.
But here I stand.
I am Malala.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think about a story? Is our story a truthful one? Is her cause a truthful one? How did she become so famous even before? Because she was shot after she got the interview and she got the blog going on for education anonymously. So she was already picked up by journalists before she was shot. Then Taliban's knew her name, and then they named her, they shot her, and then she got all these treatments. So she already had a name viral in a sense.
Malala, she is a third-generation educational activist. So her grandfather was an imam, and he used to run a network of schools. Her father was also a schoolmaster. He also ran schools, particularly schools for girls. And he was determined to give his daughter the same kind of opportunities that a son would receive in Pakistan.
All right. So she already had a background of activism. So a grandfather, a father were already like names out there trying to, to go against the Taliban forces, and already pro-activist, pro-educational in Pakistan. So she's not a person that went out of the blue. She wasn't like a no one already. She had an influential parents before to actually, be out there, which is good. I mean, I'm not against a person who actually uses her resources or has family members that can actually give her an incentive to actually do something and change the world. It's not a bad thing.
And she did not start this activism from a comfortable home either. She became an activist after Taliban militants overran her area and started shutting girls' schools, banning music, banning television. And she started publishing a blog under a pseudonym, as I remember, for BBC's service. And that what gave her a voice and international prominence. She was eventually profiled and had a documentary made about her by the New York Times. And as we saw earlier, she was also interviewed by other international TV channels. So that made her a very prominent figurehead in the fight for girls' right to education.
And Talibans were intelligent enough to just single her and see that she could create a stir in the population. So of course that her visibility made them think we need to silence her.
Because she was a genuine grassroots activist who was addressing her own audience at home. And it's international press only uncovered the work she had done so far, as opposed to parachuted her straight into the course.
Yeah, I think because what we're discussing is some personalities that they are created and then they become famous by someone else. I think she is a good example of a truthful, honest story, a person who became, a human being that faced oppression and became a leader of a cause, and then it attracted the media, and then the media picked the story because the story was really good, and then she became famous because after the story was picked, she was shot. So it was outside circumstances that made her who she is now, but she already had a story and an honest cause behind her, which it makes her intentions even more truthful. And she was a martyr as well, so she went through a lot. What do you think about the clip of the artists like Selena Gomez like talking, promoting on behalf of Malala? I don't know, I felt a bit weird. I feel like a bit of an advantage of this situation to promote themselves.
It felt almost like bandwagon jumping by celebrities, virtue signaling of sorts.
Yeah, and celebrities that had nothing to do with this cause, in a sense. Like we have Selena Gomez, we have Orlando Bloom. I don't know, maybe they're activists on their own, but it felt like a bit forced.
It did.
Yeah, them talking through her words because they were talking through Malala's words. So I don't know. They want to do something that is really impactful just to reach more people, but I think the story is good enough and it's human enough and it's honest enough to reach people without having these celebrities behind. I think people would listen without having the celebrities. So I think it was a waste of time just to do this advert with celebrities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings me to another point, which is now that Malala is world famous, is she still credible as an activist back home? She was even given a Nobel Peace Prize with the Indian activist Kailash Satyarthi, who was instrumental in freeing thousands of children from slavery in India. And that was a very, even though it was a political gesture, that they used both a Pakistani and an Indian activist.
Because of the clashes between.
In a sense, they were rather well-deserved awards, and her visibility also gave visibility to the Indian activists as well, and also gave visibility to another cause.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, now that she's been given so much prominence, and now that she has essentially been taken out of her homeland in Pakistan, it's no longer safe for her to be there.
Yeah.
Now she lives in UK, and she is no longer perceived as one of their own by some of the locals.
Yeah,
and,
now
as
it's just
pictures-
confusion, yeah.
Yes, and now as pictures emerge of her attending school, attending Oxford University, being casually dressed more to Western norms. And it's not to say that she has abandoned her cause, nothing of the kind. She keeps fighting for the girls' right to education, and she still has a huge following around the world.
Yeah.
It's just that it has become more difficult for her to be the same grassroots activist that she used to be.
Yeah. So another one, very controversial figure, is Greta Thunberg. Yes, we know her from her first speech in Extinction Rebellion, for her How Dare You speech as well. Well, she became famous from one year to another. And my question is, who is she? And how did she become so famous? Let's see a clip of Greta Thunberg.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Well, I have some mixed feelings about this, to be honest. I don't know. Is she a real face of a cause or the product of the system?
I think that her rise to international fame was unnaturally fast.
Yes, it was like she started in 2018, right?
Yes.
So it was like
so she
a year.
started out in Sweden with her school strikes in front of Parliament, demanding that something would be done about climate change.
So
But
the timing was right, in a sense.
The timing was more than right. The cause was right.
Yes.
Any other girl, if she had set up camp in front of a government building and started campaigning for a cause, would she really get the same kind of exposure internationally? And here, that's where we start digging in what is her background.
Yes, and her family as well, and where she comes from.
So her family, her grandfather is a famous actor in Sweden, and her mother is an opera singer.
So already influential names in the market, but in an artistic way.
Exactly. So it definitely helped her gain media visibility. The way she speaks, the way she presents herself is a bit unusual, which makes her very recognizable.
Yes. And their attitude as well.
Yes.
Like, she's not like a very... she doesn't smile a lot. She has this kind of... she has an image that was very constructed. She's like the opposite of Malala, in my opinion. Like, Malala, she had a story, she had a cause. Even though she had influential parents, she is very honest in the way she expresses herself. She expresses herself fluently, but I think it's her way of doing it. While Greta, I don't know, I felt like she's clearly an illusion of someone breaking the system, and her speech is very scripted, and also very childish in a way, just to go to certain targets. It feels like they knew that what they are writing, to whom they are writing. They wanted everybody from different educational backgrounds, from different classes, from different ages to actually understand her. So everything is quite scripted. And if you see the videos are very well produced. They're almost like a Hollywood production value behind them. Like this last one, like Nature Now, it's very beautifully done, and the timings and the images and the time lapses and the fast forwards and the B-roll, and then she talks for the young people, young generations. Then she brings a specialists, to talk about bigger stuff and more scientific stuff, but they also address the population in a very like childish and simplistic way so people can understand it. So everything is so structured that it makes me think that she's an instrument of someone.
People who are putting her at the forefront of the movement are well aware that her delivery is, at very least, unusual.
Yeah.
And as we have spoken earlier, may seem overacted.
Yeah.
So the question is she being put at the forefront by the environmentalists, or is she being put by somebody who wants to discredit the environmentalist movement and wants to take the attention from the true grassroots activists who have achieved real change?
Yes, or they want to make it childish, so the other governments can say, this is just a child. Because a lot of them, they say that. They devalue our words by saying, she's just a child, she's an angry child, she has the face, you see, she should be in school. And so she's an easy target at the same time, and a valuable one. So it's very controversial to see who's behind it. And the whole family, and what makes me a bit angry is that I had so many friends. Like, I'm an activist myself, and I went to strikes against, bullfighting, and we dress in blood and really believe in that cause, and in environmental issues. And I've seen so many people they actually the speech is amazing, and they speak very well, and they never had the chance to actually be heard. And this girl out of the blue was heard, and her speech is so constructed that doesn't really represent the cause. There are so many people that could speak better. That makes me wonder, why her? I think it's nice to have a girl to represent, but was she the right choice? That's my question. Was she good enough to handle the pressure? It doesn't seem likely.
It doesn't seem at the moment, and I think time will show whether she will finally rise up to the task. But at the same time, can we, as she says, can we afford to wait?
Over 60 million people are displaced today, more than any time in the last 70 years. That is 1 in every 122 people. This tells us something deeply worrying about the peace and security of our world. It says that for all other advances, this type of human insecurity is growing faster than our ability to prevent or reverse it. The international humanitarian system is supposed to work on the basis that refugees will be protected, largely in camps where they can be given basic food, shelter, and education as a temporary measure until they are able to return to their homes. During this time, the exceptional cases of the most vulnerable people can be identified for asylum in a third country and then moved. That is how the system has worked and how it should work. Today, we are seeing it break down.
So we had Angelina Jolie. She is now a special envoy for the High Commission of Refugees. She talks about refugees being protected, especially in the causes of war. And she also defends the causes to end sexual violence during conflicts. What do you think about these examples? Because there are celebrities, there are actors. They didn't need to do this, but they are doing this as well. Why are they doing this? Is that a cause that is really close to their hearts and that's why they're doing it? Or is it has a second intention, underlined, like personal branding as well, like to look good? What do you think?
I think, firstly, it is important for any public figure to maintain a positive image.
Yeah.
But secondly, I also think having achieved a certain level of wealth and having a certain amount of resources at your disposal and also still having the media's attention on you, at some point one would want to convert this into something meaningful as well.
Yeah.
And as we saw with Angelina Jolie's example, she does really lead by example. She has adopted multiple children. As a speaker for her cause, she's eloquent and conveys her point effectively. and she does a fairly good job at raising awareness of the issue.
But we have to understand that before she had a completely different image. For example, in the case of Angelina Jolie, and in the case of a lot of celebrities, sometimes they take the route of doing causes because, like you said, they have accessibility to resources that other people don't have, but also to clear their image in a sense. Because, for example, Angelina Jolie before, she was seen as a woman of many scandals. You know, she was parading with the blood vials of a husband. She was kissing. She got controversial because she kissed her brother very passionately during some award prizes. Then she also was very sexually promiscuous at the time, which shouldn't be condemned, but at the time people really talk about the sexual encounters of Angelina Jolie and the fact that she had multiple partners and the fact that she had a girl experience that she's not ashamed of. So there was a lot of controversy around her, which now wouldn't be so controversial because, you know, everybody's really open-minded about sexual orientation and, you know, have the sexual freedom to do whatever you want. But at the time when she started, people weren't that open-minded. So there was a lot of weight, and also drug consumption and all that. There was a lot of weight of a lot of things that right now it would be, you know, okay or normal, you know, a lot of people do being celebrities, but at that time it was a scandal. And the way she behaved, she was a very free woman, and at the time there was like she wasn't so poised as the others, and everybody would judge her. And I think this kind of turn of events of her starting adopting children, starting even dressing more maturely, like the way she dressed, she looks like Grace Kelly now. Of course she's more adult, so she has to dress that way, but I think she's more careful about her image, like her celebrity image. And she wants to be the mother of children and the mother of causes, not the crazy party girl that looks very sexy with filled lips and, you know, and being the Tomb Raider, like this action, very overly sexual girl. Like, I think she just didn't want to be that girl anymore. So yeah, so this is the end of our show. I hope you enjoyed what we have said today. Please like, subscribe, and comment down there. Next week we will be back with the third episode. I will be revealing the theme of the episode very soon throughout the week. Have an amazing weekend and see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.